Welcome to Monster Chats, presented by Monster VoIP, where we share the tools, methods, and best practices that business leaders use to build new connections, strengthen relationships, and impact sales in organizations of all shapes and sizes. If you have any questions that come up during today's episode, please text them to 424-378-6966. Please welcome the founder of Monster VoIP, your host, Colin Mitchell.
On today's episode, I'm going to be talking with Marty Metro. Marty and I are going to be talking about his advice for entrepreneurs and balancing financial returns with environmental responsibility. I'm Colin Mitchell, the host of Monster Chats and the founder of Monster VoIP. Marty Metro has a unique, if at first you don't succeed attitude and a track record to prove his risked it all to be an inventor and failed miserably. In 2002, he started a chain of eco-friendly retail stores to buy and sell used moving boxes in Los Angeles. He had a dream of a national franchise, but his attempt was premature, undercapitalized, and riddled with logistical flaws. After 3 long years without income, Marty was forced to cease all operations, leaving him and his wife not just an empty bank account, but $300,000 of personal debt. Marty, welcome to Monster Chats. How you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks so much for hopping on here. I'm really excited to learn more about your story and kind of get more of the details and fill in the blanks. So we'll just jump right in. Tell people where you grew up and kind of where it all started and how you got started as an entrepreneur.
Okay, sure. I'm actually born and raised on the East Coast. I grew up in Maryland. I went to the University of Maryland. Graduated cum laude from the University of Maryland and had no clue what I wanted to do. Had a degree in psychology, which they say gets you a great job as a waiter at a restaurant. An undergrad degree in psychology. So I went to get my MBA, and I got my MBA from the University of Arizona. So now I've got a undergrad in psychology, a graduate degree in business, and still had no idea what to do. So I went to work for, at the time, the biggest technology consulting firm in the world, which was at the time called Anderson Consulting. It's now called Accenture. But back then it was, I think they called it Big Six back then. I think it's Big Four now. And learned all about technology, generally ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning Technology, specifically SAP. And I became somewhat of an expert in SAP and was implementing SAP for big companies mainly all over the country, a little bit all over the world, and rode that wave through the .com explosion, where explosion meaning good explosion and then explosion meaning bad explosion. So I like to say if you have gray hair or no hair, you'll remember the .coms of late 1990s, where everybody was spending a lot of money on technology to the point where us technologists were making money hand over fist, flying around all over the world, charging enormous amounts of money to build very complex software systems for supply chains and e-commerce. And the whole thing collapsed, and we were all out of work. So in about 2002, I decided to take my technology background in ERP software and apply it to something very simple, which was, at the time, moving boxes. And I built a company called Boomerang Boxes to match people that just moved into their house that had moving boxes to people that were moving out of their house that needed moving boxes. And conceptually, it was a fantastic idea. As far as press and PR, it was a PR poster child of former executive goes green. And we ran the business for 3 years into the ground. So it was a very, very difficult time. I went from being a very well-paid, successful executive in the .coms to not, being hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and not being able to even service my monthly loans. So that was my story of becoming an entrepreneur. So in 2005, we were in a lot of trouble. We, meaning my wife and I, not just no money, but hundreds of thousands of dollars of consumer debt. and no income at all. So luckily enough, I had been pitching to venture capital firms about the potential of doing this on a much larger scale. And I like to say that about 199 out of 200 of them said, "You've already proven it doesn't work. Why would we want to invest in something that you've proven doesn't work?" And I couldn't really argue with them. I then came across a VC firm that saw what I saw, had a better way of doing it. We raised some capital. We rebuilt the business, not Boomerang boxes, but used Cardboard Boxes Incorporated. And we've been growing like crazy for 14 years now. So every year has been significant growth over the year prior, and knock on wood, in the middle of COVID, but June of 2020 will be our biggest year in the history of the company. So we're finally doing something right, and we're figuring it out as we go, but it was a long learning process.
Wow. All right. So let's go back to 2005 for a minute. What were the challenges that, looking back now, what were the things that you didn't know at that time that were, really not allowing you to see success?
Great question. And I was actually just working with my nephew who's taking some business classes in college. And I almost got choked up because one of the case studies he was doing in the business class, undergrad business, was just exactly what I lived. And I had wished that I learned that in college. But I think the biggest thing that I just missed was I focused so much on the fact that I could buy used boxes from somebody who just moved in. I could buy them for 10 cents. And I could turn around and sell that same exact box for 10 times that amount, for $1.
Mm-hmm. And
it was still half the price of U-Haul. And I focused so much on that transaction, and I bragged, and again, just, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Inc. I've been interviewed by them all sometime or another during this process, and it was, I buy a box for 10 cents. I sell it for 10 times that amount, and I'm competing against U-Haul, and I'm half their price. Mm-hmm. So where do I sign? And I that's what I focused on. The problem is, it costs me about $30,000-$40,000 a month to run the business. So even though my margin was 10 times my cost, I had to sell, I don't know what the number was, but let's just say gazillions of boxes to ever be able to cover my monthly costs. And then you looked at the physical presence I had. I actually had retail stores. When you did the math backwards and said, Marty, you're going to have to sell a gazillion boxes this month to pay your rent, and you look at physically, the retail store isn't big enough to even come close to holding a gazillion boxes. So that is what I learned, is that yes, margin's impressive and you can brag about it and it sounds cool, but you also have to walk through it physically. Can I physically bring this box somewhere? Can I physically do what I need to do to it? And can I physically get out the door? Once you added in the physical costs of the trucking and the warehouse and the employees and the insurance and the employee driver who drove out to do a $100 delivery and came back with a dent in the van. Once you build in all those, I don't want to say soft factors because they're not soft factors, all those real costs, you realize you can't do this on a small level. It's got to be on a massive, massive level. So fast forward, go ahead.
And then what about, like, how many boxes does an average customer buy, and what does it cost to get that customer in the store?
Yep. Exactly. So back then in 2005, or actually I'll start with 2006, the new model, I would brag to investors that, hey, we used to at first at Boomerang Boxes, we would sell individual boxes. You come to the store, you could go through 100 different boxes and pull out the one you liked, come up to the cash register and give us 50 cents, and you'd leave with your box. It cost me, I don't even know how much money to get you that 50-cent box, and I'm only getting 50 cents for it. So back in 2006, I would tell investors, we've solved that problem. We have now bundled or kitted our moving kits, and now, no matter what, every single kit we sell is profitable because we now deliver, we sell online and deliver. We don't have retail stores. So if you click a 1-bedroom moving kit and we deliver it to you via FedEx, guaranteed it's profitable. I already know it's profitable because I already have all the costs put in. I don't have to hope at the end of the month that it becomes profitable. So in 2006, I used to brag, look at us, every $100 kit is profitable. Then we got into commercial and B2B, selling to companies like Walmart. And now the average sale is not a $100 moving kit. It's a $5,000 tractor trailer. And we use that same approach. So now when we move a $5,000 tractor trailer, I can also tell you exactly how much profit there will be before the truck even leaves. So all the other costs are built in. And then fast forward to today, we now do very, very large scale recycling programs for big companies. So now it might be a $250,000 program, and I can tell you if it's profitable before we even begin. So very short answer to a very long answer. I'll give you the short summary. Boomerang Boxes, I sold stuff hoping at the end of the month I'd find out if it was profitable. Used cardboard boxes, we've built a profitable model that we feed. We built a profitable engine that we feed, and it kicks out profit when you do it right.
So it sounds like really digging deep into your numbers are what made the big difference.
Yeah. Absolutely. I like to say, I used to do a lot of public speaking. I used to say, you got to look at your numbers vertically, meaning what's your revenue, what's your costs, okay, that's your gross profit, what are your fixed, okay, that's your net profit. That's vertical. And I had that, and mine was impressive. What I didn't look as horizontal. What does this look like in February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October? A full year to see the seasonality, because in moving, back in the old days when all we did was moving boxes, 80-some% of all moves happen between May and September. So you got to be ready to not make any money January, February, March. So people that, forecast out 3 months are really missing the potential disaster of seasonality. So yeah, I say you have to look at things vertically to see your margins, but then horizontally to see what it looks like over time as you do it.
Yeah. And so what, and you guys are servicing people all over the place now, right?
Yeah, we cover all of North America, all the U.S. and Canada. We do a little bit of Mexico, not a ton of Canada, but we do service most of Canada, but mainly all across the U.S.
And have any of the 199 investors that said no came knocking on the door?
No, I don't think those, because I think in the investment community, they're churning through us like nothing. There's a couple of friends that tell me they wish they would have gotten involved, and I said, well, you had the chance 14 years ago. And a lot of new ones are coming. So it used to be that we got press when we were Boomerang Boxes and we were, kind of had this cool story. So when you get press, what press really gets you is the salespeople calling you, the insurance companies, the attorneys, the accountants, you name it.
Right.
So back then we got a lot of press and a lot of vendors calling us. Now we don't really get much press because we don't really, we focus on our business, not the press. And now I think the venture capital firms and the private equity firms are actually finding us due to their actual research, not just, oh, I saw a thing and I learned about used cardboard boxes. Now it's I was studying the industry. I was studying waste management. I was studying recycling, and learned about us, which to me is a huge pat on the back.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the the mission, right? So like what happens to your average cardboard box versus, kind of what are you guys solving?
So it has changed over the years, but in general, let's take a so let me back up. In general, and it's changing because of Amazon and others, but we produce an enormous amount of cardboard boxes in the US. Look around, anything in your office, anything in my office got to us in some sort of cardboard box. But they're generally a cardboard box that is designed for that product. Mm-hmm. So I have 27-inch monitors. So there was a custom box made to hold 27-inch monitors. It doesn't hold anything else. Wouldn't even hold a different 27-inch monitor. It only holds the HP 27-inch monitors that I have. Mm-hmm. When I open that up, I only have one option: get rid of that box. And in an office building here, we have limited recycling. So it's very likely that box ends up in the trash. If we did have recycling, sure, it ends up in a recycling stream. But generally speaking, in the U.S., and this is over the course of the last 15 years or so, generally speaking, all that cardboard gets crushed, compacted, and sent to China. Why is it sent to China, people ask? Why does China have a insatiable demand for scrap cardboard? Any ideas? The reason is they're the ones that are making that unique 27-inch cardboard box for the monitors. Mm-hmm. So they need fiber. They don't have trees. They have rice. They need the fiber to make all these gazillions of custom-made boxes for electronics and computers and everyday goods to ship them here, where we just unpack them and toss the box. Mm-hmm. So there's this huge global recycling program where we take our recyclables, we crush them and ship it to China. China turns it into pulp, makes new boxes, ships stuff to us again. I looked at that and I said, that's great. That's a wonderful thing. But the 27-inch monitor box, I get. I bought a monitor. I don't need another one. But when we're talking about a typical 24 by 15 by 15 box, and you're talking about a Coke or a Pepsi or a Nestle that is unpacking the gazillions of bottles and caps all day long, it's the same exact box. So we go after the big companies that are unpacking the same exact boxes. We buy those boxes for above recycling rates because we don't recycle them, we resell them.
Got it. So there's only certain size boxes where it works and makes sense. And for the companies, they're obviously paying for these boxes a lot less than what they would if they were buying them new or buying them. What are their other options for getting boxes?
Well, they can always buy brand new, and that's just cutting down a tree and making a brand new box. So yes, I agree with you when you said there's only certain boxes that work, and I'll tie that back to your original question of what was something that I didn't know back then. Mm-hmm. And this sounds cliche, but it's so real. Is you can't be everything to everybody. You can't build a business where you will be profitable doing whatever anybody wants. It just doesn't work.
Right.
And that's kind of what Boomerang Boxes was. It was come into our store, meander around for as long as you want, take anything off the shelves that you want, try it all out, see if you can get your toaster oven into this box, throw it on the floor, and then find the right one and give me 50 cents. That doesn't work. What does work is we go after the high volume, low variety industrial boxes. Bottles, caps, cups, lids, mainly food manufacturing and beverage manufacturing, because there's so much packaging. There's so many bottles, so many caps. I mean, I like to tell people, would I go after Sony? I don't know. How many car stereos did you buy this year? How many Sony TVs did you buy this year? Right. Versus would I go after Coke? How many Diet Cokes did you buy this year? So when you go after the large food and beverage companies that create consumables, they go through an enormous amount of boxes.
And these companies, these large companies, what percentage of their box volume that they buy can be used boxes? Like, what percentage does a solution like yours fill for them versus their entire demand?
It totally depends. So we buy from certain companies on a certain index, and this is also kind of a key to our success. We buy on the recycling index. So if recycling is trading at $100 a ton, we're buying for more than $100 a ton. But we're only buying from very, very specific companies, generally major manufacturers of food, beverage, and consumer products. We sell on a completely different index. We sell on the packaging index, and we sell to completely different companies. We sell to the Walmarts, the Walgreens, the retailers that are distributing product out to stores. Mm-hmm. So what percentage? It could be anything. I'm not going, if I went to a Pepsi plant and they told me that they make 357 different products and a little bit of each one, I'd say, I don't know if this is a good fit for us because we're going to get so many different boxes and we can't really depend on any we don't have any forecastable supply. Mm-hmm. If I go to a Pepsi plant that says, yep, we make 20-ounce bottles of Pepsi, that means we buy 20-ounce bottles and the cap that goes on it. So that means if I bought 100% of their boxes, I'm really getting 2 boxes. And I can depend on that, and I can plan on that, and I can forecast that to then turn around and talk to a Walmart that needs boxes for shipping their product out to their stores. And I can tell them that I can deliver 1 million of these boxes because I have a constant supply. So that's why, again, going back to that original question, you can't do what we do on a small level. I tried it, didn't work, and we have competitors that kind of pop up every once in a while that last for a year or two for that reason. Can't do it on a small level. You have to do it on massive, tractor trailers.
Wow. Well, so tell me what you guys have in store. Like, what sort of plans do you have for the company?
Well, to share our excitement, we about a year ago, maybe a little bit more, we had built our own technology to buy and sell boxes. So ever since 2006, we've been writing our own code, building the software that our employees use to buy and sell boxes. So our purchasing managers use it to purchase boxes. Our sales managers use to sell it. Our operations and inventory team uses it to manage the inventory and trucking and everything. We provide very, very detailed reports to our big clients. So, for example, McCormick Spice. McCormick Spice is known as the #1 most sustainable food manufacturer in the world. We've been running their box reuse program for 10 years, and we make them a lot of money. So whereas they used to get recycling rates, they now get reuse rates from us. So they're very, very happy. It's a lot of money. Years ago, we were walking through their facilities. They've got 15 plants across North America. We're just watching how much other stuff is going in the trash. And, they asked us, can you help us with that? And at first we're like, no, we're a box company. We buy and sell boxes. Got to stay focused, right? But we watched how much waste was going on and how the pallets and the plastics and the other cardboard boxes and the other cardboard and the shrink wrap and the food waste all just going in a big dumpster. And Waste Management or whoever it was picking it up and taking it away and charging money. So about 2 years ago, we set out to launch to use the legacy of used cardboard boxes, or what we call UCB, and the software. We expanded our software, kind of put it on steroids, and we now we have launched UCB Zero Waste. And what UCB Zero Waste is a management company. Yes, we will manage your boxes because that's what used cardboard boxes does. But what UCB Zero Waste does is manage your entire waste stream. So we manage all your waste, everything that's going out of any plant and to going to any vendor, whether it's a pallet or food waste, organics, you name it. It's all managed through our software. And our new software is called Water, WATER. waste analytics and tracking for environmental reporting. And what it does is allows you to track all of your waste, and it puts it in a pie chart. And it just shows you, here's where your waste. You got this much recycling, this much reuse, this much landfill, this much waste to energy. This is all of your waste in this nice little pie chart. So now we are running McCormick Spice's entire waste stream all across North America, all on our software called Water.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. Well, as my wife likes to say, it was a 10-year overnight success.
We're going to take a quick break just to tell you a little bit about what we do here at Monster VoIP. We started Monster VoIP, frankly, because we were tired of getting gouged on our business phone bill and having dropped calls. So today we serve over 6,000 customers. We're passionate about saving their business money and giving them the features they need for their tech stack. If you want to learn more, you can text info to 424-378-6966. I'm talking with Marty of Used Boxes, and Marty, you have an incredible story. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, after 2005, you must have just wanted to give up and say, "I'm done with this box thing."
Not to get emotional or depressing. And my wife told me I should stop saying this, but the reality is it's true. I didn't want to just give up. I didn't want to just give up on business. I wanted to give up on life. It was when you go from being an executive who meets their future wife and buys her a big diamond ring and has a great job and flies all over the country, really all over the world. And I took my wife to South Africa for a business meeting. We had a great life, and then I went out and started a used box company and lost everything we had, and lost all of our money and everything. So it was, to say it was humbling would be an understatement. I definitely was thinking that ending everything would make it easier on everyone, and I got the opportunity to try again. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs fail in business, and they do one of usually two things: go back to being an employee, or try something different. I think I can't say I meant to do this, but the thing that was unique about me is I failed at used boxes, so I tried used boxes again, and I just tried it a different way with the right support and the right infrastructure. So yeah, it was. I spent a lot of time and money learning all the wrong things to do, and I still don't necessarily know all the right things, but I definitely know a lot of wrong things. Yeah,
wow. I mean, what an incredible comeback success story. So before I let you go, is there anything else you want to let people know? How can they find out more about the things that you guys are doing over there? How could they connect with you online?
Well, we've been quietly building our business because, again, Boomerang Boxes was a kind of a PR play, and we learned that PR didn't really pay the bills. So we've been quietly building our business. It's two separate entities. One is Used Cardboard Boxes, and you can check it out at usedcardboardboxes.com, but our website's pretty basic. It's better to just Google it and learn about what people are talking about. But Used Cardboard Boxes is the box brokerage. UCB Zero Waste is the waste consulting and management company that owns the Water platform. And yeah, we've kind of rebranded ourselves this year, and we have a new, very succinct corporate mission. And our mission is to create profit, because we're very proud of that. Create profit by reducing waste with integrity and transparency. So we worked very hard to come up with that, because we feel very strongly we're not a nonprofit. We're not a kumbaya. We're not a fly-by-night. We're here to stay. We know how to pay our bills. We know how to pay our 100-some employees. So yeah, we're here to make money. But we can do it by reducing the amount of waste that's out there, because waste costs money. So if you don't have as much waste, you don't have to spend so much. And we like to do it with integrity. And we'll show you how we do it. We'll show you in our software exactly what we're doing and how we're doing it, so we can work together. So that's kind of our new mission. Creating profit by reducing industrial waste with transparency, with integrity and transparency. I'm still working on it.
Awesome. Thanks, Marty, for coming on the show today. Really appreciate it. If you are listening to the podcast, please subscribe, share with your friends, and we're listening for your feedback. The show is all about you.
Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Monster Chats, presented by Monster VoIP, where we share the tools, methods, and best practices that business leaders use to build new connections, strengthen relationships, and impact sales in organizations of all shapes and sizes. If you have any questions from today's show and want to reach us directly, please text your question to 424-378-6966.